Hello, welcome to a basic Chinese cooking tutorial, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a traditional Chinese dish called the Chinese fried potato, known as 土豆丝 in Chinese. And this is one of the most omnipresent stir fry that you can find in China. I mean, every region, every area, every household have their own variation of it. You might have seen the salad version, the deep fry version, or whatever. But today what I'm going to show you is the vinegar fried potato, which I think is the most widely seen variant of the Chinese fried potato. Okay, so let's get into the ingredients. So first, you need one potato that's peeled, and maybe 6 or 7 cloves of garlic, like this. Wash it a little bit, rinse it, and 1 piece of leek. Now, if you have green onion, that's totally fine. Just make sure you wash it before you use it. Only use the white section of the leek, okay? And these are the 3 main ingredients you use. And now we're gonna get into the condiments. First, because it's vinegar fried and it will have a little bit sour taste, which I think it's a good thing. Some people prefer it to be sweetened, some people prefer it to be a little bit salty. But we're gonna get into that, how to balance each of the condiments out. So first of all, very important, the most important ingredients, the Shanghai White Vinegar. Now, if you have distilled vinegar, that's fine. It's a little bit stronger than the Shanghai White Vinegar. Although, if you don't have this, then chances are you probably have something that's a little bit different. The Qingkang vinegar, known as the Chinese dark vinegar. Now, this one is fine too, but it's a little bit different taste, I'll say. It's a little bit less tasteful, I'll say, or less stronger than the Shanghai variant. So we're gonna keep this one out here. And once we got this, you also need a little bit of soy sauce. Any soy sauce can be fine. Light soy sauce, regular soy sauce. My choice is the premium soy sauce, shaped like a bowling pin right here. And it's my favorite because it's a little bit sweetened and has a bit of taste out of everything, I guess. But if you have the regular soy sauce that you see in the everyday supermarket, that's totally fine. I believe you can find these for cheap, for like $4 or $5 in a local Chinese supermarket or Asian supermarket. Or if you have the Japanese version of soy sauce, totally fine too. Now, a little bit of my favorite thing, a little bit additional, like my personal favorite addition to the condiments is the Kadoya Sesame Oil. This is a very secret ingredient in a lot of my dishes because I've cooked for about a year now, and every single stir fry that I use, and even the noodles, I like to put a little bit of sesame oil in it. I know it's not a thing for everybody. Some people like it, some people hated it, but I usually put it in for my stir fry, just a little bit of sesame taste in it. Okay, so on top of that, you do need some salt as well. If you want some pepper, you can put it in too, and I'll explain it when we get into the frying process. Okay, so first of all, let's work on the potato. Now, here's your potato, and one of the requirements for cutting the potato is to cut it to about 1/16 of an inch thick. Now, you may be wondering how thick is 1/16 of an inch, and how you're able to achieve that level of thin. I'll give you an example. So here's a quarter, and this quarter is about 1/16 of an inch thick, like this. Okay, so how are we gonna do this? Well, it's gonna be a step-by-step basis, and when you first start out doing this dish, you want to start out as slow as possible. Just take it slow. Pay attention to the steps. There are many tutorial videos online that you can watch on YouTube. When I first started out, it took me about a month to really learn how to cut these slices to that thick of a level. And I remember the first one that I did, it literally looks like French fries, but it still tastes good. So you gotta start somewhere, right? So okay, let's not waste any time. Let's work on the potatoes. So before you start cutting the potatoes, bit tilted like this, and cut a portion of the bottom of the potato. This is gonna be your base. And if you don't do this, chances are your potato is gonna slide around and it will be a pain in the ass in the later process. So cut like this. Doesn't matter how thick it is. See, my knife was still a little bit of work, but I'm working on it. Maybe one day I'll get into the master chef level, but who knows? Okay, so now we're gonna chop it to thin, round slices like this. Now, a lot of people will do is that they'll chop it straight away from right to left, and they'll chop it like a 90-degree angle like this, like longitudinally like this. Now, this is good because you don't have to work on some tricky part of it. It will come out just as it is. But what I will do is to cut it at an angle like this angle right here. Because once you work on from here all the way to the end, you have a larger piece to work on. If you know what I mean, if you cut it out, you have a slice this big, about this big right here. But if you cut it like 90 degrees, you only have this big of a piece to work on. Now, some people like it long, some people like it thin. I like a little mix between those two. So the sweet spot that I found is about 30 to 45 degrees like this. Okay, so let's start it out around this angle and just work on from the top to the bottom. Now, here we go. Use your knuckles right here to guide your knife and make sure it goes all the way down 90 degrees vertical as you can every single stroke. So here we go. I'm gonna move the leek away like this. And now we're down to the very last piece. Now this is one of the hardest part to work on because it's so, you see it's so small. So it's very hard for you to cut it like this, right? So now we laid it down flat and we're gonna work on this. And the piece that we cut out from the very beginning to the very, we leave it to the last and we'll work on it later. So we leave it aside. And this is just for beginners. You know, if you're a master chef or you've been cooking Chinese food for so long, your knife work is like top of the mountain, you don't have to worry about things like this. And I literally just started out about a year ago. So this is how I prepare my food. And I assume that, you know, it'll be easier starting point for all of y'all to learn this dish. So now we took this aside like this. And we put these potato slices all together. Take the smaller piece out, it's fine. We can work on it later. And lay them out. Lay them out like this. Like a deck of cards, pretty much. You want to lay it as flat as possible. About this much, here we go. Perfect. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is to start the whole process again, except this time you're actually doing at a 90-degree angle, like this. Or you can do it like this, you know, whichever way you prefer. You can't always make sure every single piece looks the same, right? So here, we start off from this side, and the same principle, use the knuckle as a guidance, and just work your way from the right to the left. Now, I've seen a lot of chefs, Chinese food chefs, they on YouTube, and they were able to do it at such a fast speed. Like you would imagine, like how can they work on so fast, like this, and each one of the individual pieces look the same. Right? It must be a lot of work to achieve that level of knife work. And even though this food looks very simple, I mean, it's just potato, mix a little bit of garlic and leek. But ever since I was a kid, I remember my parents telling me that this is one of the hardest dishes out there. Why? Because it's a test. See how I just messed up right there? And it's fine, we can just cut it later on, like this. And even if you have some big pieces left over, you can always cut it and, you know, do a little bit of afterwork to make sure it's perfect. But if you're just cooking for yourself, you're not working at a restaurant cooking this, you can make whatever shape or size you want, pretty much, as long as it's thin enough for your taste. But anyways, so I remember my parents telling me that even though this dish looks simple, it's really a testament of the chef's knife work. See right here, I can do it slowly like this, or if I'm a master chef, I'll do like going like 90 miles an hour on these chopping boards. And but if you just started out, if you want to try out some really authentic Chinese food, this is one of the best dishes to start it out, because you can start doing this dish, and then throughout the years you can just keep working on it, and you see your knife work start getting better and better once the slices become thinner and thinner. And it's really really one of the practice kind of dish, and it's still very easy to make, very quick to make. So if you got back home from work and you want to have some meal really quick, this will be my go-to meal. If I have literally nothing in the fridge besides some garlic, and some potato, this will be it. This will be the kind of dish that I mix. And you see, even after a year of practicing, I think it has something to do with the camera turn on right here, that I'm a little bit nervous on this. Now you can push this aside and move this to the center. And just keep working on it. And you see that my cutting board started moving a little bit, tilting. And there's one way to prevent that, is to put a piece of towel underneath the cutting board. And unfortunately, I'm cutting this on my dining table, because I ran out of space in the kitchen, and I have nowhere to put the camera on. So I'm using my phone camera, so that takes a lot of space. All right. Working on from top to bottom. And again, you have some small pieces, lay them out like this. Sometimes you see some pieces when completely separated, and you'll end up with a big chunk of potato, and you can always pick them up and cut them down later on, because we're not done yet with the potato. Like, this is just one step of preparation. See, sometimes you see big pieces like this. This is too thick for 1/16 of an inch. Now you just pick these up. There are a few of them right here. That's the only one, and this one right here, that's the only one that I can think of. Okay, that's the only one I can see. All right, so cut these again. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. Now, if you just leave the pieces like this big, it'll be fine. You know, you just put it into the pot and just fry it. It will come out just fine. You know, it's just a little bit thicker, right? But I'm a little bit perfectionist, so I want to make my food look good. And I don't want to look at too amateurish, even though I'm an amateur myself. All right. See, now the slices are way thinner, right? This is about, let me pick an example. There's some big chunks right here too. It's like playing a guitar. Once you turn on the recorder, all your talent just say bye. I'll see you later. All right, so now you can see that, I'll just pick an example right here. This is about 1/16 of an inch right here, about this thin. And this is a desired thickness that you want to go for, okay? And now these are the regular chunks that we work on. Push it aside. Now we got these small stuff that, you know, we chop off first. And these things are a little bit easier to work on later, worse. So we'll start with this one first. This one, same idea. You just chop into thin pieces like this. Because they're a little bit smaller, so they're easier to work on this way. Okay, so and lay them flat as much as you can. Let me see, about this much. uh, ah. Going like this. See, if I use your master chef, you just like this. There you go, from right to left. Some people actually prefer the other way, like this. I think it's just might be some kind of a personal preference. I like to do it from right to left this way because I feel like it'd be easier going like this. Although y'all can let me know, you know, what are the other ways to prepare this dish a little bit better. Like I said, I'm just starting out, and I feel like this dish, if a lot of people can learn this dish real quickly, and it just you know, it's a little bit of knife work that you gotta work on. Other than that, once you prepare it, it will taste awesome afterwards. Oh boy! As you can see, now the pieces from this little chunk has done. Some little stuff right here, like this. Well, these small stuff, you don't have to worry about the shapes or size too much, because these will probably just blend right into these big slices that we chopped earlier on, like this. All right, and this, you see, this is a little bit uneven because this is the first piece we cut off from the potato, right? Like this side's a little bit thicker. This part in the middle is a little bit thinner. So what we do is that can use push the garlic away. Use a knife horizontally like this. Be careful not to cut your finger. Go a little bit downward so you don't have to cut your finger later on, like this. So the piece now, this will be a flat ground for us to work on. We can cut this piece off and then do it like this, lay them flat, the same idea. I'm not sure if the cutting board is still centered at this point. This is the kind of dish that everybody has a different way to prepare it. Some people like to add a little bit of pepper or bell pepper or carrot or even fresh celery into it. But I think most families in China, they prepare just as the way it is. Most people say it tastes better with the chili in it, but I don't really like spicy food. I mean, I'll show you when is the best opportunity to add chili if you want a spicy version of this this food right here. But just remember that this is not the you know, it's not the only way to prepare it. But it is the most, I guess it's the most easiest way. It's the easiest way or the most efficient way to prepare it. All right, some big chunks right here. I like to chop it off a bit. Okay, now we have a bunch of these potato slices. So what we're gonna do now is to put all these slices into a bowl of water and wash it a few times. And come on, let me show you how to do it. All right, as you can see, I got my water right here, and what we gotta do is to get all the potato slices that we prepared and just dump it in like this. And a little bit less water, let's put more in it. And wash it like this. And as you can see, the water is very muddy like this, right? So what you gotta do is that you wash it in this kind of water a few times, and you want to change your water about 5 to 10 times depending on how crispy you want your potato slices to be. The more times you wash it, the more crunchy it gets. Personally, I prefer to wash it 5 times. That's crunchy enough for me. But if you wanted a little bit more of a taste, a flavor out of it, wash it about 10 times. Now, what we're gonna do is get you one of these kind of filter thingy. I don't know what things are called. I think it's called filter. But either way, we're gonna get all these potato slices out of there. I know those slices look ugly. About this much. See all those small slices, we don't have to worry about it too much. They're pretty much gonna disappear once you fry it anyways. Okay, so dump this water, put new water back in. And you repeat this process about 5 to 10 times. Okay, now you see after washing it 5 times, the water is way clearer, and you can really just feel like the slices are harder than when we first cut it. And what we're gonna do is leave it for about 4 to 5 minutes. Let it sit in the water, and just use the filter to dry them out after that. I'm gonna prepare the leek and the garlic. So first, let's work on the garlic. And what we need to do is not to mince it or dice it. What we need to do is just use the chef knife that you got. Make sure, oh, by the way, make sure you have a big knife like this. I mean, a fruit knife, a little bit smaller than this, is fine. But one thing I figured out is while you're cutting the potato slices, it's a little bit harder for you to guide the knife with your knuckle because the potato itself is so big, right? So this is a little bit better. I think I picked this up for like $30 in a Chinese supermarket. If you can't find them, I'm not sure if Amazon sells them, but definitely if you have an Asian supermarket or Chinese supermarket near you, definitely go check them out. They have this in stock in most of these stores. All right, so let's work on the garlic. So all you need to do about the garlic is just literally just smash it with the knife. There you go. Like this. I think I just eated that garlic all over the table, but it's fine. This about this much is fine. What we're gonna use the garlic for is to put it with the oil first into the pan, and it will get all the juices out into the oil, and it will add a very nice flavor afterwards. And of course, if you don't like garlic, some people swap it with like pepper, whole pepper, like peppercorns, and try to fry pepper oil with it, and then take the peppercorn out if you don't like them, or leave it in if you like them. But me personally, I love garlic so much, so I use 6 cloves of garlic right here. And of course, if you don't like garlic, you can just maybe put 2, or sometimes you can just fry it without anything that, you know, go with the oil. But this will add a very nice flavor to it, and you can leave it in the pan and fry it with the potatoes as well, and it will taste good afterwards too. All right, so let's go ahead and then just do it like this. See that? Now there's a trick that if these chopped or smashed garlic starts sticking to your knife, so what you do is do this. Don't lift off the knife. Put it back. Push it over. There you go. No garlic on the knife whatsoever. All right. So these are gonna go aside, and now we're gonna prepare the leek. And leek is a very interesting ingredient right here because we're gonna chop up the leek and make it to little thin pieces, and we're gonna separate it into 2 parts. We're gonna put it in first when we frying them, and then put it inside again once we're done frying them. So you have the leek flavor on the potato, and you have the fresh uncooked leek afterwards. All right, so let's chop on the middle and chop off from the center like this. And we take the centerpiece out. Like this. The reason why you want to leave these, I don't know what these things are called. These are called I don't know, I just call it the core. Or if you want to leave the core out, you want to do that because if you put this in and along with with the potato, it'll have a little bit bitter taste to it. Some people like it that way, but I'll just leave it out. And what most people will do is that instead of throwing these away, they will put these into the water that you put the potato in, so that it will clear out all the I guess there's some kind of starch smell in the potato, and these things will have a very good smell to counteract that. Okay, so let's just leave this aside. Let me just put it into the water for now. All right, so we have these sheets of leek or green onion if you use that that we can work on. So what we want to do is to lay them flat like this. Let's work on this one first. And you want to chop it again with an angle. This time, with a little bit of more angle about this. What do you think about this? This is like about 15 degrees, more sharper angle that you go with. Okay, so leave it about, I'll say about a 1/4 inch wide, like this, or 1/8. And chop into these kind of these sizes. And these, the size doesn't really matter on this on these leeks, because these are like just basically like accessories for the main dish right here. All right. All right, so now we have the garlic ready and the leek. And at this point, I think the potato should be ready to go, and we'll just take it out of the water, and we'll be ready to start our frying process. Potato slices on the side of filter. You want to make sure the potato is as dry as possible before you fry it, because once we put the potato in, you see that the oil temperature is going to be pretty high, and if you have any moisture in the potato, it's going to cause a little bit of small explosions here and there, and you have oil splashes that are just going to be nasty. So what I'll do is usually I'll just take it like this, drench the last bit of water out of here, and here we go. Or maybe press it down like this so that I don't even want to use my hand too much. And now we have the garlic and the leek. Okay, so we're gonna start with the oil, right? We're gonna start with the oil with the pan. And now a lot of people that when they do stir fries for Chinese food, sometimes they mistakenly use the olive oil. I just want to make sure that olive oil is fine for a lot of dishes, but for real authentic experience, you want to have peanut oil for most of the stir fries or most of the Chinese dishes, because it's going to be more tasty. I know it's not nowhere as healthy as the olive oil, but if you have a chance to go to any Chinese supermarket or Japanese supermarket, you see one of these Chinese peanut oil, get one of these. It's a little bit more expensive than the Walmart peanut oil that you can find, but it's way better. It's definitely the most authentic experience that you can have. Just a little bit. Crank it up to maybe 8 to 10 or the high settings. Let the pan heat up first. Once you feel a little bit of heat coming out of the pan, you can add oil to it. And I think in Chinese we call them hot pan and cold oil. Apparently that's the most effective way. All right, so now you feel like just wait for maybe 10 seconds. Here we go. I feel a little bit of heat coming out of here. So now you want to put the peanut oil just enough to cover the bottom of the pan. Ooh, that's a little bit too much, but it's all right, This amount of oil should be okay. Heat up. And the next step is to put the crushed garlic that we made into the pan, and we're gonna fry the garlic first to get the flavor out of it. Now, if you're not sure what is the best temperature to put it in, or if you don't have a thermometer, there's no like an exact temperature you want to put the garlic in. So what you can do is to pick a small piece of garlic like this small, and just put it in. And you can hear just a little bit of sizzling going on right there for now. We're gonna wait until it starts real sizzling, and we're gonna put the rest of the garlic in. All right, looks like it's going pretty good. All right, let's go take the garlic in like this. And this is the point where you want to turn down the heat just a little bit. I've turned it down to 8. Stir it. stir it well, and make sure every side of the garlic is fried. And you want to fry it until that you can just start to see a little bit gold start to form around the garlic. I know it's a little bit hard to see on the camera, but once you start cooking, you see a little bit of gold and yellowish color start to form around it. There we go. That's just all right. Now let me see if I can get it on the camera. About this much. About this much. All right. So now the garlic's ready to go, and now we're gonna crank up the heat all the way to high. Maybe leave it to 9 if you have like a power boil option. All right. So drink the last bit of water. And in the potato we go. Now, one thing is that when you cook this dish, there's going to be a little bit of smoke coming out of it. So you want to make sure the vinegar salt turn all the way up. I didn't turn it on just because it's going to affect the audio quality, but I had my floor fan turned on outside of the window in my kitchen. So make sure that the ventilation is well considered. Like this. And you flip it a few times. So the oil covered evenly across all the potatoes. Like this. All right. So this is the point where if you want to add a little bit of soy sauce, and this is the best time to do it. So let me just take a big spoon like this. Get the soy sauce. You don't want to put in too much soy sauce because it will taste a little bit salty after that, but if you like the kind of taste, then go ahead, go right ahead. It'll taste great for you. And if you like me, you don't like a little bit of sesame oil, this is also a good time to put it in. You can smell the soy sauce start coming up, and that's good. That's the point you want. Again, you want to color every single slice to make sure it's evenly as possible. Flip it a few times like this. And because we put in a bit of more oil into the pan first, there is a little trick that we can get the oil out of the pan because it will look very greasy if you put everything back on the plate once it's done. But I'll show you after the frying process is done like this. Make sure the spices are covered evenly. Okay, now we can turn down the heat a little bit, leave it up here, and it's time to put in the vinegar. You do not want to put in the vinegar too early because these things will vaporize very fast. So this is about the time, about 1 to 2 minutes before you take the potatoes out. That'll be the good time to put in the vinegar. All right, let's do it. Make sure when you put it in, put it from the side, not at the center. Perfect. Add a little bit of salt. If you like sugar, you can put in some sugar as well. There we go. You can see there's a lot of grease underneath it, but it's all right. We'll have to wait to work around it. Turn the heat back up. And this is a time where you want to put in the scallions, we call it. The first part of the scallion. We leave a little bit of scallion at the side so I can put it out just before we take the potatoes out of the pan. Alright, and once you feel like the potatoes just started to turn soft, that's the time you want to stop. See, now I can feel like the potatoes are still a little bit hard. Of course, you want it softer, you can fry it a little bit longer, and you can see the amount of smoke coming out of it. If you have like a fire line right next to it, you want to make sure the ventilation is good. Otherwise, the fire line will start beeping. All right, this should be good enough. And this right here, not too soft, not too hard, and it should be just the right amount. And so now we put in the last batch of the scallion. Okay. And turn off the heat. Wait for it to cool down a little bit. And here we go. All right, let's put it on the plate. Now, if you have too much oil in the pan, what you can do is use a spatula and just carefully scrape these potato slices onto the pan. See, I made a little bit too much right there, but it's okay. Make sure you're holding that a little bit of oil in the little dip that formed right underneath this. And just like this. If the plate is full when you make a full turn, that's all right. Go back on right here. All right, so now you can see there's still a little bit of grease over here, but we're not making the pan look greasy with the leftover oil. If you like the grease, it tastes pretty good, If you like the grease, and you can just, spray it over the rice, let it soak it up, or just dump it like what I always do. All right, this has been the Chinese fried potato 土豆丝. I call it the vinegar fried potato. This is one of the variations. Like I said, there's going to be the salad version, the dry fried potato. All these different kind of varieties are originated from the Shandong province of China, which is known for their famous lu style of Chinese food, and it's spread all across, mostly popular in northern and western China as far as I know it. But this is the end product that we have. Looks like it's pretty good, so let's take a bite and see how it goes. It's a little bit hot. Take a little bit of this bite. Cool it down. It's probably the best plate of fried potato that I've ever made. And you can see there's garlic right here as well. You can eat it with the slices. The amount of vinegar and the soy sauce you want to put in, it's all up to your personal preference. If you want it more saltier, use a little bit of more soy sauce. But if you want like a more traditional, more sour kind of taste, I'll usually put in 1 volume of soy sauce per 2 volume of vinegar. So if I put 2 scoops of vinegar in, I'll put 1 scoop. Or not 2 scoops, that's a little bit too much. But 1 scoop of vinegar in, I'll put half a scoop of soy sauce in there. And if you want a little bit more, you can always put more in there. This one, absolutely delicious. And it's one of the most commonplace Chinese food out there. And like I say, if you're in your house, you never cooked Chinese food before, this is one of the best dishes to start with. And it could go for a very long, could go by a long shot. You can always practice your knife skill every time you make this food. And I remember back when the blizzard happened, when this ran out of power in this apartment, all the potatoes that I have in the fridge are spoiled when the blizzard's over and the power get back on, right? So instead of throwing those away, I remember I peeled those potatoes off and still practice my knife skill with it. And then I throw it away to make sure they still have some value in it, right? Okay, so this has been Chinese fried potato, 醋溜土豆丝, and I appreciate you watching. And I apologize for the stuttering, for the mistakes that I made. First time I'm making cooking video, I was a little bit nervous, but I hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope you can make your own food. Let me know in the comments what I can improve, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.